Well, wasn't that a pretty intro? But I need more boats. And I really fancy a sandwich. So today we're going to build another delivery boat or two. We're going to set up bread deliveries from the Bread Baron's factory all the way over to here. And we're going to start work on a brand new sandwich factory. Welcome back to Just Create. Let's get building, shall we? And first up on my quest to make sandwiches, bread. Now, we have previously made a deal with the Bread Baron that I'm permitted to build a dock over there in a very specific place, which we'll get to in a moment, where I can fetch all the bread I need. And in return, Kev is setting up a system to request rockets from me, but I have no idea how progress on that is going. But let's head over to Kev's and plan a dock. Now, I believe Kev said that I was actually to build here, on the side of this bit, but this building appears to have sort of gone over the area where he said to build, and there's also a sticky out bit here, so is this where he wants the dock? I don't really know. Is that two giant bits of bread stick? Oh my days! Is that actually a toaster? Oh, that's amazing. He's actually just built a giant toaster. This man's creative genius knows no bounds. And this new building he's put in since we last chatted is absolutely massive. What's this? Official bread count? It's not as much bread as I was expecting, Kev. That appears to be only somewhere around 118,000. But I guess until I can speak to Kev about exactly where it is okay for me to put this dock, as I say, the original space seems to have gone now, I should probably actually hold off on this side of things. Oh, and there's a creeper. I don't want to blow up Kev's base. So I guess we're going to be doing things in a slightly different order. For now, let's just leave, and I guess we'll start working out the sandwich factory placement instead. Now, for the sandwich factory, I guess we've got a couple of options over here. We've either got this platform here, which we do have a bit of a dock on already, or we've got this large area here, which might be a better fit, to be honest. What do we think? I think what I should actually do is grab a clipboard and work out exactly what sandwiches I want to make, and then that's going to kind of tell me what machines I need and how much space I'm probably going to need inside this building. Okay, so there's 4 sandwiches we can make. We've got an egg sandwich, which is literally just bread and 2 eggs. We've got a bacon sandwich, which means we're going to need a pork farm, a lettuce farm, and a tomato farm. We have a chicken sandwich, which means we're also going to need chicken, as well as the eggs we're going to need for the top bit. So we're going to need a couple of chicken farms, I think. Once again, we also need lettuce for that one, and we're going to need a carrot farm. And then lastly, we have a mutton wrap, which is going to mean we need sheep. We're going to need to grow some onions, and once again, lettuce. And of course, they all take bread as well. Essentially, we're going to need 4 farms with animals, and we're going to need a crop farm. And these don't need to be big, giant farms. We're not planning on making millions of sandwiches. I just want to automate a process we've not really done before, while at the same time, it means that I can feed myself forever. And if we do have any leftovers, we can always sell those in a shop, I guess. But the main aim is just to build a fun factory and stop spending diamonds on burgers. I've eaten way too many burgers, and I need to vary my diet. So, if we're going to be farming animals out here, do we need an outside space? Probably not, because the best way to farm animals is to jam them into a 1x1 square, which admittedly isn't particularly humane, but what we could do, I guess, is create a platform on the top here. We could have a building on one side that we'll use for processing and actually making the sandwiches. Maybe that could be a 2-story building. And then maybe what we should do is actually have a separate place or a separate unit where we're actually farming the animals. With this particular factory, I do feel like maybe I want to theme it a little bit more, make it make sense, instead of just making a building and jamming as much machinery as I can into it, which, let's be honest, is pretty much what we normally do. So what we could actually do is have some shipping containers or something out here, and then have the meat coming out of those on belts as if it's being unloaded after a delivery, and then we can just hide the very, very inhumane animal farm bit of it underground, and no one will ever know, apart from the fact it's in a video and going out on YouTube. But we could potentially have a small delivery area here, then have all of the meat coming out, going into a building over here where it gets processed, turned into sandwiches, and then sent back to a dock over here again. That sounds like a potentially nice way to do it. First things first though, let's clean up this platform, and that usually begins with removing all of the snow, because we can always place some back afterwards, but we don't want to be building directly on top of it. It's annoying. Well, all the snow's gone. We can see a bit easier what we're working with, and I think I'm going to chip off that lump over there and fill in this gap over here, then plan some building shapes on top, build a little platform thing, and get connected over to this walkway. So let's crack on some music and get working. Well, that is one mighty fine looking platform. And it's quite a big platform too. But we've got a big old factory to make here. So what I've actually done is separated it into 3 separate buildings. So we're going to have a big building here. We have a slightly smaller one off to the side, and an even smaller one there. That leaves us plenty of space on here for the dock where we can build our shipping containers and hide some animal farms, probably inside the mountain that's going to produce the meat that feeds up into those. We can then transport that into the building, and then that's where we'll make our sandwiches. However, that doesn't really leave us space for farms. Now, we do, of course, already have some farms all the way down over there, but the problem is those ones aren't actually producing because I'm not over there, basically, so things don't grow, which is not helpful because we're going to need not only the vegetables for the sandwiches, but we're going to be needing to grow crops such as wheat and carrots to be able to feed the pigs and sheep and get them growing. Thankfully, with the chickens, we can actually just hatch eggs. But yeah, we're definitely going to need crops to feed the other animals, as well, of course, as needing crops for the sandwiches. And although we've got quite a lot of space up here, we don't really have the space to be growing loads and loads of crops. So we're going to do something a little bit cheeky. It involves that tower there behind us. And what I'm going to do is take a schematic of this tower, because this is the perfect shape to stack a whole bunch of crop farms in. So we're going to make a copy of this. We're going to jump over into our creative world, and then I'm going to hollow out the inside completely. We now have one completely empty tower ready for some farms. So I've just taken a schematic of that, and I've just come back to the main server to find that Kev's logged in, so we'll go see him in a moment too. But first up, what I want to do is get another one of these towers into existence, but over the other side of the platform, and this little sticky out bit here seems ideal. And I think it makes sense to have another tower over here somewhere. I mean, we are sort of a defensive outpost in the sky, and that one fort over there isn't really going to defend us from everything. At least that's the excuse I'm using for dumping another tower down over here. Right, so let's quickly make the schematic. So how would it look if we were to have it here? To be honest, I think that actually works quite well. The other option, of course, was to put it on this peak here, but I feel like that's too close to the tower we've already got. But I reckon this could work. We're going to need to do a bit of building down the bottom to attach it here. And on the rest of the sides, it looks like it just goes into the hill, so that's fine. Okay, so let's generate a list of everything we need to build it. And we want to make sure we're not building additional bits of mountain, so we're going to miss out all the stone and things like that that it asks for. And we're going to borrow this backpack to put everything in. Let's give that to this guy, send everything through. Hopefully they're going to offload into my backpack. Certainly are. Now let's redo the material checklist. So we still need a bunch of stuff. It looks like I've got a little bit of crafting to do. We now have a complete checklist. I'm just removing all of the stone, coal ore, and emerald ore because we really don't want to have that stuff in there. Probably the cobblestone as well. Then we set this to don't replace solid blocks and to skip the missing blocks. And all we should need is a bit of gunpowder, and we can blast this thing into existence. And a few minutes later, we now have an additional tower. If we look at that from a distance, that should be looking pretty good, although it looks like I do need to go in and actually fix a few bits, because those windows had a lot of coal and stone and cobble and stuff. I also need to rotate the flag so it blows in the same direction as the one over there. And of course, I need to connect the base down to the mountain. So we've got a bit of tidying up to do, but that's the perfect place to stash some crop farms, and it looks pretty good up here. I think it works well having the additional tower, and it saved us a whole lot of work. So let's just quickly tidy it up, and then we can make a start on the farms. Short while later, and that is the tower now sorted. The flag's going in the right direction. We've got some stairs that are only temporary to get up inside it, and I've connected it to the bottom down here. I've also added the coal and cobblestone back that we missed off earlier. So now I think we're ready just to jam some farms in here. Now, the crops we need to make in here are lettuce, tomato, carrot, and onion, which is for the sandwiches, but we're also going to need wheat and even more carrots in order to breed the pigs and the sheep. So if we were to make 6 farms, so we're doubling up on carrots, and we've got an extra one for wheat, I think that should work nicely. We've got plenty of space up here, and I tell you what, I think we might actually have a bunch of, yes, rich soil. Only 3 and a bit stacks, but we can definitely make some more. Didn't we make a machine for it? I can't really remember. Let's go have a look. I think it's in the top of this building here. Yeah, this is the one. Just got to remember how we did it. So organic compost and water was making the fertilizer. So I need to put organic compost in there. And we make the rich soil by squirting the fertilizer on organic compost. So basically, for every 2 organic compost, we can get 1 rich soil, which means I need to make a whole bunch of this stuff. I'm hoping Tiz Tom over here has got a whole load of straw. Yep, 1.4k. That'll do nicely. Seems to have a bunch of zombie flesh as well for some reason. Well, I managed to get another 13.5 stacks of compost from all of my resources. That'll have to do. So that's going to give me close to 6.5 more stacks of rich soil, and hopefully that's going to be enough to build a reasonable sized farm. So we want to put half in this side to make fertilizer, the other half in this side to make the compost. So it takes half a bucket of liquid fertilizer to turn one of those into rich soil, and we only get quarter of a bucket from each organic compost. So I think we're actually going to need more of this compost in the other barrel, because we need 3 organic composts to make 1 rich soil, which means we're not going to get as much as I was hoping. So we managed to get 1 block short of 8 stacks in total, considering what we already had, which isn't loads, but it is going to be enough to start our farms. And I think I want to start building them near the top here. So I think something about this size, so we've got a bit of a gap around the edge, would work well. Then we'll put harvesters along here, and the same along here. Make sure all that's glued together, and basically this windmill is going to control everything. Let's just make sure I've got it spinning in the right direction. I do not. There we go, now we do. Okay, so I've put 5 floors in. We've got light, so everything should grow nicely. Apart from the fact it's on the farm soil, which will occasionally bone meal it for free. And then we've got a collection system underneath, which should hopefully work, and we should just store everything in this vault. So let's turn it on and plant some crops. Well, it has just occurred to me I need to put storage on this thing, or it's not going to be able to pick up anything. So let's get that going again. So I've got all the crops planted, and I realized I actually needed to add water. So I've actually just put a copycat panel at the bottom here. And then if we go to the top, I've flooded this block right here, and that's just flowing right down the middle of the column, and it's actually hydrating every single farm, which is good. It means these things are going to start randomly bone mealing here and there, as you can see from all the sparkle, and that's going to grow our crops nice and quickly. We'll worry about making this look good later. For now, what we want to do is just filter for the seeds that we don't want, and then we'll burn them. So let's just rotate that round. So now it should keep all of our veg and straw. I actually forgot about the straw. And all the seeds should get destroyed in fire. Just like that. Now, if we have a look at our clipboard, we're doing lettuce, tomato, carrot, onion, and wheat, and more carrots. So that's all the crops done. We haven't made the animal farms yet, but to be honest, I want to wait for the crops to build up a bit first. And we'll worry about how we get the crops over here later. That's not important right now, to be honest. We could also do with linking them up so we're storing some over there. But I think what we're going to do now is get this building in place. And I've got a rough idea of what it's going to look like in my head. Hopefully, we can pull it off. So I'm just going to crack on and build. And that means I guess it's time for another time lapse. You better pick some good music, Editor Beardy. Well, that took quite a while. But look at this place. I think it's actually come together quite well. And we've even named the company that's going to be making the sandwiches here. But we've basically got 3 buildings here. We've got this middle one, which is where all these stock's going to come in. And what I've done is linked this container to a little hole underground. If we go down here, we can see there's a big area. This is where we're actually going to be farming the animals, because I don't really want to have that up on the surface. I don't really think it fits with what we're doing. So we're just going to hide all that down below and bring the meat and eggs up this way. Over here, we've got a big pile of bread, and hidden inside here is a post box. There it is. And that's going to be linked up to a station we'll have here, so we can take deliveries, and anything that comes in via a delivery will then run along this belt and go into the sorting area, which is going to be here. We'll have some vaults, some belts, and we'll just sort everything out and keep count of what we've got. But behind me, we've got a big open space, which is the start of the factory floor. So this is the main building, and we've actually got 2 floors here to work with, as well as a little bit of attic space, but not much. I have connected the buildings on the upper levels as well, so we've got above the storage area, we've got another floor, and it appears I've forgotten to put a floor in here, so we need to do that as well. But we've got 2 more floors in this area, and a bit of roof space. And then over the side here, we've just got a small building, which I don't think we're going to do much of anything with, really, to be honest. It's a little bit small, but it does help to balance out the build and break it up a little bit. I particularly like the roof on that one. Around this side, we've got a tower and a flag, just because I thought it might need one. And out the front here, we've covered the dock with lots of packages, parcels, and things like that. And of course, we've spanned the logo around on lots of the crates around here. But now we've got this sorted, we just need to start bringing some resources over here. So I think what I want to do is get this station in and figure out the rail, because basically we need that boat down there to be able to get up to this dock here, but also it needs to get round to our crop farms over here, which have probably been producing lots of stuff. So we're going to need a small loading dock over here and lots of rail. Okay, a short while later, I think I've got the rail sorted. So we've got a loop that goes around our new build that also goes past here, so we can have a dock sticking out and collect stuff there too. And we put signals in so the boats don't jam up, but we've got a junction here so boats can come in that way, they can loop round, or they can carry on going this way. And then this swoops down, and we're where it goes through a little bit of snow here, but we can just clear a little bit of that away. It doesn't matter because the tracks aren't visible and the boat is actually a block or 2 above the tracks anyway. So the boat shouldn't clip any of that stuff. And then this just connects onto the loop, which goes back round down here, and so on. Now, I just want to make sure it's going to work. So what we're going to do is just post something to Arby's. It doesn't really matter what. This is just for a test. This goes round, goes there. That will trigger our boat, which is gone. It's already off out doing something, apparently. Is he over this way? Oh, yep, there he is. We're definitely going to need more boats up here, but we'll sort that out shortly. Let's let him finish his delivery that he's doing at the moment. Then he should pick up our new package and hopefully find his way all the way up here to our new factory. The boat's just come back. I think he's picked up the new parcel, so hopefully he's going to go up this way. Nope, he's gone back over there again. I really need to make more boats. Oh, and here he comes. Here comes my boat. Finally. He took his time, I'll tell you that much, but he is finally arriving where we want him to, and that should offload our packages and send them up this belt. Oh, yep, there they go. Excellent. And now he should just return all the way back down to there. So I guess what I need to do now is build a loading dock over here so we can actually pick up all of the crops that we're making. Let's have a little look. Okay, yep, we've got plenty going on in there. Just going to add rotten tomatoes to the list filter as well, because we don't want those in there. I should probably filter out the straw into its own storage as well, but we've got plenty of space up here to do that. And then everything else we are going to want to take over there. Well, we need to make it look nice, but a dock like that should work. I just need to grab a few bits to make it look good. There we go. That should do the trick nicely. So next up, I need to get some packages and things and make it so that I can get items from here into a post box over here. And I want to take out all the straw, get that compacted, and just store it as straw bales as well. So I'm going to need to grab a whole bunch of other things. In fact, I might have some shipping containers on me still. And for now, just a simple system like that will do. Which does mean it's not getting turned into straw bales just yet. But it occurred to me we don't actually have power over here, so that'll do for now. Now let's go grab the bits to actually sort out the delivery system. Now this should be fairly simple. We just put a post box here, a packager, and a chute. We'll put a stock link on that, link these gauges to it. Then over here in the factory, we need another vault, a packager. We're going to extend this belt. Jam another shaft in, make it look nice. And then we'll put a link on there, which is once again going to be its own delivery system. So let's do this. Going to connect this half to the vault. Then we're just going to do this again. Then we'll link this to there. Tell it to send 64 carrots, and we'll get 64 carrots. Address it just to Arby's. And let's say we always want 10 stacks of carrots over here. So that's going to start putting them into our post box over there, which should set our boat off. Yep, he seems to be going. Is he coming this way? Yes, it looks like he is. Excellent. So let's just get the rest of these set up. So that should bring over 10 stacks of each veg. In fact, what I'm also going to do is set up wheat just to get that over here, because it's going to make it easier to feed to the animals. Our boat's now arriving to pick everything up, and yeah, that looks fine. Got enough distance between the dock and the boat. That's going to drop off loads of packages, which should make their way into our vault here. So there's the boat. There go the packages, and they are getting offloaded into our vault. Wonderful stuff. So now we know that's working, we're getting our veg coming over here. We need to sort out the bread situation. Kev appears to be online, so let's go pay a visit to the bread baron. Hello, what's all this? Silence just left 2 diamond beacons laying around, and he now has a netherite one. That can't be solid netherite, surely. I don't really want to break it in case it turns his beacon off, but it does appear to be solid netherite. He's a madman. Now the question is, where is Kev?
Toasted,
Kev!
toast sliced. We are
Kev.
Ah!
I'm still eating burgers, Kev, and it's a problem. I need sandwiches, and for sandwiches, I need bread. And I came over here because obviously we had a discussion right, about where I was going to build my dock, and now there's a great big gorgeous building here. So I was a bit stuck. Yeah.
I remember that I specifically marked a spot here on the bay, and
Yes. Yeah, but this looks amazing though, honestly. Like I'm not mad, I'm not sad. I just want to know where to build, really.
Well, I have taken you into account, Mr. Beardstone, but before we get to do that, I see that you have your hamburger there instead. Let me show you something a bit more tasty. Something that makes you happy now, knowing that yes, that's a list of other things we're producing here. That's not necessarily bread, but it affects the bread escalates
Toast sliced, toasted. By the way, absolutely love this toaster with the bread going up and down. That is just amazing. It made me so happy when I saw that.
I thought, here I've been building a fantastic industry. We need to have a gimmick, right? And what else but a toaster?
I mean, it goes well with you got the rolling pin over there as well. Now you got the toaster. I mean, what's next?
That right there is every individual piece of bread in this facility being individually counted. Oh, yeah. Come here.
You've got too much time on your hands, Kev.
No.
You've literally built a machine.
We're currently up at nearly 500,000 individual piece of bread counting. This has taken a couple of days. Just
right.
It's still a couple of 100,000 left in storage for you to count, but we're getting there.
But surely you already know how much bread you've got. You just double check it.
But I mean, so here's the thing: if I'm not around and somebody comes by, and they can go, that's how much bread he has. And did you remember that I said I don't value my worth in diamonds? I value it in bread.
Yeah.
This is my official way of telling you how much I'm worth. This might be what you're more interested in.
Yes, packages of bread. This is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So these two are currently bulk storages. We got 50,000 almost packages of bread. Yeah, I know. But they're going to be distributed to the world. But is this the thing that you were curious about nabbing some comments from?
Yes, basically, yeah. I need to get some bread, basically, over to my wonderful sandwich factory, Arby's.
Arby's.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you did there. This is the delivery zone, the output zone. I could just route, wherever, but I did think of you. I had you in mind when I built this area. It's just been relocated somewhere else to what I originally said. I said this corner in the window.
Yes.
This is where I'm going to have a conference room.
Oh, yeah, you can't really have boxes of bread flying through a conference room. Even if it is a conference room without bread. That's just ridiculous.
Get it. Yeah. Finally, somebody understands. We can't just have profuse amounts of bread jabbing through the air like scissors and knives and all of the other weird things that people put in bread and stuff. Yeah.
What have you been putting in your bread, Kev?
Have you ever been in prison?
No.
So on this side of the pickup dock area, or the delivery zone, I've made a corner. It's a weird corner because, I was counting and then this corner emerged, and I thought, hey, since this is part of my main drop zone,
Hmm.
this corner right here isn't.
Ah, okay. So I can build something out round here.
Yeah. Do you notice how sort of free form it is? Like, I haven't really planned anything for this area. Well, over there, yes, amusement park. You know, that's
Yes,
yeah.
of course, of course.
But this area and this, no, I have no plans for it. It's all yours. This is free real estate corner right here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I can just build a dock out here. I'll probably just have some stairs going down to sort of a piratey wooden dock that I just stick on the side, completely anti your aesthetic.
That's fine by me.
Well, the good news is the other part of the deal where I'm supposed to be sending him gunpowder, he didn't even bring that up. But we now have a location where we can go and collect our bread from. We just need to make a very, very long track that goes all the way down there. And I think working out that route is probably a good place to start. Now, we do already have a route that brings us down here towards spawn, so I think our best bet is to branch off from here and basically head off in that direction, go around the mountain, and then we'll arrive at Kev's base down the river. The problem we're going to have if we're going directly over Kev's base is the fact that we're going to have to drop quite a lot of height quite quickly, and that's not really going to look good. And a short while later, we've now got a great big loop here. We can adjust that as we need to when we actually build the dock over at Kev's here. And this loops all the way up and round, goes around this mountain here, then it goes over the top of spawn and connects up to the track we already had. So now we just need to grab a few bits and bobs, build a dock, probably get another boat, maybe even 2 new boats up here to sort all the deliveries and things, because that one boat's going to be a little bit overworked otherwise. And then work out how we're actually going to request it, because as we worked out from the whole shop problem earlier, long-range requesting does not seem to work. But we'll figure something out. So I've just grabbed a bunch of blocks. I think we have what we need. Let's go build a dock over at Kev's. And I'm thinking what we're going to do is literally just have some stairs coming directly down off of Kev's dock here. Although I think I'm only going to do it 3 wide. 5's a bit much. Then we're going to attach our dock to the side of his. We're just going to have a nice curved dock like that, I think. That should do the trick nicely. Now we're just going to fill in the floor. Then we'll get a fence up. Safety first and all that. Then we're going to do a bit of make it look nice with these shelves. Now we also need to give this thing some structural support. Then we just need a few dangly ropes. So what we need now is somewhere to store the bread that Kev brings over. So I'm thinking maybe just a shipping crate like that. We'll pile a bunch of bread around it, of course. And what we're going to need is a packager. Dump items onto these drains, which then need to link into a post box. But I need to actually put the train station in first. Let's see how close the track actually is, because I've just kind of guessed. Ooh, it's a bit low. Not a problem. We can place a couple of blocks and get this where it needs to be, which is that height. If we do that at all these turn points, it should be easy enough just to readjust it. So let's just remove all of this track. Now we can connect up all of the new track, clean up the iron, and there we go. The track's in a much better position for the station now. So now what we can do is link up a post box, have that drop things in there, cover this up with more bread. We're going to put a stock link under the packager. And I have noticed if you put these bread boxes into copycat bites, look, you get tiny little boxes. They are so cool. I love them. So we're going to scatter a few of those about as well. And with that, I think we're done. So we just need to get Kev to deposit bread into here. And then we need a way to actually trigger the linked stock thing there to ensure that we've actually got bread coming in. And because we can't do long-range stock links, because for some reason they're just not working, what we might actually need to do is just have some kind of repeating timer down here just to constantly make sure there's packages of bread in the post box, store the bread in its very own vault at my end, and basically just have the bread boat constantly going backwards and forwards, picking up the packages and delivering them over there. Because eventually it will get to a point where the vault over there is full, the boat is full, and the post box is full, so nothing will be able to go anywhere until I use more bread. And that does mean we're going to have a dedicated boat just for collecting bread from over here, and we're probably going to need to do something fancy with the schedules of the other boats to make sure they don't come over here. But I think that's something that's possible. Let's go have a look. So if we have a look at this, if we say retrieve package, we can indeed tell it to pick particular ones. Okay, this is good. Have it to retrieve packages that are just called BBRBs, and deliver the package, and then we'll need to give it its own bit of track that it can wait on. So it's going to need like a home dock, essentially. Maybe we could put something around the back here. In fact, we can just tell it to sit and wait at Beardstone Bread Barren, because no other boats are going to be going down there. Now, what we're also going to have to do at this one to collect anything that's Beardstone Warehouse and also anything that's warehouse out. And hopefully that's going to work. Now, what we're going to need over here is a separate shipping container just for bread. Then we'll filter out the bread into there. So we just need to get that power and get the bread actually coming over here. So we should probably go see what in the world is that. Hello?
Mr. Beardstone! Hello?
Kev? What in the world is this? I just saw a rocket sideways flying.
It's my rocket.
But not sideways flying. It was regular flying.
No, yeah, this is absolutely flying like a rocket should be flying, Mr. Beardstone. Why are you questioning?
Are you sure? Are you sure that's how a rocket flies?
Let me double check again. I put the controls and I start driving the rocket. Yeah, I'm fairly... Look at this. This is just the way a rocket's supposed to move, Mr. Beardstone. I am fairly happy with the way this executes. And, as you can tell, because I've arrived at my final destination, I'm here to pick up my gunpowder.
Yes. Okay. I thought I got away with that earlier when you didn't mention the gunpowder when we were chatting.
No. I've just been waiting to finalize my rocket. Isn't she great?
Right. Where did you even have this? How did I not see this over at your base?
Oh, I waited with constructing it just as you left.
Right. So you've just knocked this up in the last, like, half hour.
So you didn't see the actual shooting round? Because here's the thing. I did plan to build a horizontal rocket. Couldn't fit a space for it, so I decided to go vertical instead. And then she came out of that, and she's beautiful.
Yes. Beautiful, Kev. So... Is this gonna... I thought you were joking about the rocket. Nothing. I'm literally speechless, Kev. You just do you want me just to give you some gunpowder, or is this part of some automated system? You want me just to give you gunpowder?
Yeah. I'm not like you might be the pirate, but I'm the slightly more rustic person when it comes to operations here. I still haven't really figured out all of the other juicy stuff. So yeah, I'll just whenever you see the rocket, know that I'm coming to pick up some gunpowder.
Right. Okay, Kev. I'll show you the best place to probably grab it from. Then you are ridiculous. Right, so, boat. We need a dedicated boat just to send over to go collect some bread. We need to give it a schedule, get the bread coming over here, and then we're one step closer to actually making our sandwiches. So I have a feeling we're definitely not going to get all this finished today, because we've still got to build all the animal farms, which means we need to go find animals for a start. And then we need to build all the actual machinery that's going to make the sandwiches. But one thing at a time, Beardy. Let's focus on the bread stuff first. It looks like our other boat is still doing its deliveries, which is good. We didn't mess it up by changing his schedule, but he should completely ignore all the bread ones now. So for another boat, we're just going to grab a schematic. We're going to grab all the resources we need. We're going to blast it into existence. In fact, we're going to make 2 more boats because we want another one that's doing the Arby's deliveries between here and the main building. And then we want the one that's going to be going to and from the Bread Baron. So I've set up a schematic cannon. I've got everything we need. Let's blast another boat into existence. And there we go. There's another boat. So what we're going to do is set down a station to create new train. It's registered the bogey. And it occurs to me I don't think I had super glue in my bag. So the whole thing is not glued together. So let's quickly do that. Let's relocate it over here. And nope, we've left loads of stuff behind. So we need to do a better job at gluing. Let's get these underneath bits. Let's try that again. There we go. That's one new ship. We just need a driver, and hopefully he should be able to go start collecting those bread deliveries. So if we make ourselves a little andesite guy, put him in the seat, and give him this schedule with bread Arby's, which I believe was the address we put on the other end. We give that to him. Is he going to go? He is. And hopefully this is going to take us all the way to the dock. There's no reason it should have moved if it's not going to do that. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Nope, it has stopped here. And that is because the other boat is actually parked at a platform that this one needs to go through. Oh, the other boat's just left and now this one's going, which is fine. But yeah, definitely a problem we need to fix. essentially we need a bypass. So how about we do something like this? Then we're just going to need a few extra train signals. Okay, I think that solved it. Our boat has definitely set off. So let's go see if we can catch it up. Nope, I have no idea where it's gone. Oh, we've got bread coming in. Wonderful. But where is our boat? Ah, there it is. Must have flown past it and not realised. But hopefully he can now make the rest of the journey all the way down to the dock and then make the journey all the way back. Okay, so the boat is working. We've got bread coming in. Basically, everything that comes in on this belt gets unpackaged here. The bread will go this way and into that vault. Everything else goes over there. Now, the problem we are going to have is at the moment we're bringing in a whole lot of bread on every delivery. That's way more bread than we're going to need. So to solve that problem and vastly reduce how much bread we're taking from Kev, let's go back over to the dock and make some changes. So let's just remove all these bread boxes. These are in the way. Turn that off so we stop packaging up bread. And we're going to stick a stock link underneath. So that's on the underside of the packager here. So we can remove the lever. We don't need that anymore. We're also going to move the post box. And what we're going to do is have a barrel there that always wants one box of bread inside it. These filters are ridiculous. There's a problem with the texture there, Kev. So let's say it always wants 8 items in there. So that should request from here. Put those in there. And then we've got our 8 bread. In fact, I've got a better idea. Let's just set it to 1, so we always want 1 in there. Then what we can do is have a packager on this side, then have a couple of drains. We'll put our post box here. Then if we power that, that should take that 1 bread, box it up again, and it won't send it into the post box because we need to put the address. There we go. And now we are sending 1 box of bread in each package, which means we're not going to overload ourselves. We're not going to be taking all of Kev's bread. And this system should just keep looping round. So let's just try and cover up a bunch of it. Okay, well, I'd say that's a job well done, eventually. So we've managed to get our bread coming in, we've got our veg coming in, we've built a giant new platform and a great big building, which is actually in this direction, which I think is looking pretty cool. We've got an additional tower full of all of our veg farms, and we've got a huge amount of space to build our sandwich factory once we've actually started making meat and eggs. But sadly, we're going to have to save the automation of these sandwiches for next episode because we are out of time here for today. But I've had a lot of fun, I hope you did too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.